Where is the bloody camera? Yeah, here it is. Okay. Striving for perfection and dealing with imperfection. Doesn't exist. Imperfection. I was not perfect, and I said imperfection instead of imperfection. That's quite funny, isn't it? Anyway, have I done that on purpose? You'll never know. One thing you've got to know, learning a foreign language is a lifelong venture. It means it's more than getting married. You will always have to deal with this language as long as you live. Make it your own language, like your first language. Don't see it like something external, like an intruder in your mind. Make a little a friend of yours. One thing you've got to know, that the sooner you get over the first phase, which is understanding basic things, to be able to speak basically like a 3-year-old child. I always done like this. I don't go for perfection from the beginning. I mean, I try to learn perfectly the basics, to acquire the feel of the language. I mean, what's the purpose if you know many words? If you make a mistake, when you just make a plural, or you cannot conjugate verbs and use masculine adjective with a feminine word. I noticed this watching people who learn Italian and Greek. They do not have the automatic feel of the fucking language. People forge ahead, but they don't know that they haven't really absorbed the bulk of the language, the mainstay. They feel that the masculine word needs a masculine adjective. That, for example, in Italian, that some words end in E, but these are masculine words, not feminine plural. Get the basics. Internalize it. It takes time. Okay? When you have to internalize these structures, you can change the adjective, you change nouns, you can practice a lot of the words that you should internalize on that level. Try to not to do always the same things. Internalize some things, but the other day do a different work, and then a different work, and then after some days you go over the work you did some days before. Be creative. If you make your learning active and not passive, if you're responsible for your own learning, if you see learning a language like a challenge, but you don't throw yourself too much into it. I know I say something strange, but if you start very fast, it's very likely you're losing the impetus, there is another word in English. Anyway, so devote an amount of time to this, and of this time an amount of time to focused learning, when you know what you're doing. Intensive learning, focused learning, but not so intensive, and that part is just okay, practicing the language, watching things. You have to devote some part of learning a language to free willing. You do what you like. It's what in running is called fartlek, and music is like free music, free jazz, or whatever. You need that also, but not at the expense of the mainstay, which is focused learning according on your level, listening, and then little by little you speak more and more. If you do this, just the passing of time will make you a better speaker of the language. Don't fight with language you're learning. If you don't understand something, if you make a mistake, don't feel diminished. Don't feel you're not that good, because this fear of making mistakes sometimes makes you make more mistakes, and you convince yourself you're not that good, and this is a self prophecy that gosh, I'm at a loss for words. I will say that to you after that. Anyway, there is a good side of being devoted learner. That is okay, I don't understand something, I'll do my best, so I'm really into it in a good way, and I feel the challenge, the mistake, like something I have to overcome, and I'm confident I can overcome it. But not everyone has this attitude. I think most of the times, for different reasons, people are not self-confident, and when they bump into a problem, or they find themselves faced with the fact that they are bound to make mistakes, when they try to use the language they are learning starting from their language. I rarely make mistakes in Greek, because whatever I say in Greek is something I've been listening before, something I heard before. Sometimes you can make mistakes because you hear something and you misinterpret it, you think it means something, so grammatically what you say is grammatically correct, but it's a mistake because you meant something else, or rather you meant something else, and you said something that is not what you meant. But basically try to acquire your knowledge or absorb the language through what you hear. Every time you try to do something new, it's very likely that you are going to make mistakes. And if you're bound to do that, for some reason, sometimes you have to say something, it's not important practice in language, you just need to communicate. But if you do that on a regular basis, you're going to develop an interlingua. This is your version of the lingua that you feel like perfectly right. The moment you feel like you acquire a feel for the language, unlikely the feel is wrong. And then if you always speak a language, starting from your first language, with no native speakers, with people who do not give you the right feedback, you develop a mistaken interlingua. This is bound to happen. Many people do this because they always chat with no native speakers. No native speakers do not correct, and they sometimes, oh God, I've been saying this for years and it was wrong. Yeah, I mean, people do not correct you unless they know you very well or unless they dislike you. And many times, even though you make a mistake, there is a redundancy in the language. They understand from the context. Even if you don't understand from the context, maybe they understand something else and they don't even know that you made a mistake. And you keep saying that, and people keep misinterpreting what you said, but until one day, but I meant that. For some reason, something happens and you explain well, better, and the other person, but no, it's not what I understood, because this in English means that, and you meant something else. Oh, I thought it meant that in English, or in whatever language you're learning. So take it easy, do it seriously, but not with anxiety. Okay? If you're confident that you are on the right path, every day that passes is a day you've learned something more. How can you be confident? Okay, watch the other videos, get some information. I gave you many practical tips. There are no secrecy, no magical ways to understand language. I'm not one of these opinionated, know-it-all linguists that the only experience they have is with themselves. I'm not one of these people. This is common sense. It's not the be-all and all of how to learn a foreign language, but if you get this, you are more conscious, okay, that there is a method. Many times people don't even know there is a method. And then you will see, if you do what I tell you to do and you see good results, you're going to take my advice seriously. Okay? But beware of people that tell you, oh, or my way or the highway. Beware of people who know it. Okay, there are two kinds of people. People who have experience and people who have theoretical knowledge. I have more experience than theoretical knowledge. I mean, I read books, I watch videos by linguists and language experts, but I cannot say that I have a degree. Okay? I'm not pretending what I'm not. I don't know how my knowledge compares with their knowledge, but I tell you right away, I'm not a certified expert. I took one examination, linguistics. I can teach English because I have a degree or a certificate, whatever, but I'm no a high level expert. Okay? There are people here who pretend to be high level expert. They have their little shit to sell. I don't have my little shit to sell. I don't call the other people. There is the expert. I don't have this tone with people who are really expert. Okay, when I I don't speak about that because I'm more practical. I know I'm not into this. I criticize you. I criticize just one person because I think this. I don't like the attitude. I don't like snotty people. Okay? They should come down to earth and be more down to earth people. But there is a linguist that speaks out, and they compete with each other. Who's the best linguist? Who knows more? Who's the fastest gun in the West? I really don't give a shit about this bullshit. I really find it a waste. I mean, just a waste of my mind power. I said, learn 2, 3. I mean, I'm striving with 2, Italian and English. I have 2 other like minor languages, and that keep me with my feet on the ground. I know how to learn a language. I still am in the process, but I know that a language like English, which is a very rich language, you'll never master it if you don't devote a lot of time to keep it alive, not just. It's impossible to speak so many languages on the level they pretend to speak them. There is a catch. They are fluent, they think they are, but the more I am fluent, the more I realize that I made a mistake. I didn't use the right word at the right moment. I can have a good accent, but I don't sound like a native speaker, even if I am, because I live in Italy. So the condition of native speaker is something that changes in time. Okay? So you need, to the core, you don't lose it, but all the rest, what makes us adult speakers of the language, all the rest we need to cultivate this ability to be good speakers of the language. And it's very difficult, even if you speak one language. Think about 2, 3, or 4. So at the end of the day, who needs in real life, for example in Italy, a person who can speak Italian, Chinese, Dutch, and Portuguese? I know what I say is not very pleasant to say, but in a way I find that abominable. I always speak about that, I get mad. Okay, people need to know the basics. People need to be accompanied in this long path. It can be a rewarding path and not a difficult a path where every day you're faced with the fact that you'll never be as good as a native speaker, that you make mistakes, and so you tell yourself, I'm not that good, and there's a psychological problem, so you develop a dislike for the language you were supposed to like. And all these linguists you watch on YouTube makes you feel like shit even more. Okay, I think that tell you the truth, I call a spade a spade. You have to devote a decent amount of time, but when you've done that, don't overdo it. Get a life, because most of these linguists, they don't get a life. I mean, I like music, I like running, I like playing musical instruments. I don't devote my whole time Unless it's your job, you're a linguist, okay, but it's not your job. And my job is in a way teaching, but not all this nonsense about these personal ideas on how to go about learning a foreign language, like there is no scientific approach to that. There is a scientific approach to that. I must just divulging this to common people. Thanks for watching.